Some voices are meant to be heard, and some should never be answered. Welcome to the Whisper Vault, where shadows speak and the dead still have stories to tell. Here you'll find true ghost encounters, haunted locations, and chilling legends whispered through the ages. Every tale is real, or at least someone swears it is. The question is, do you believe them? Step inside the vault, but be warned, the whispers have a way of following you home. There's a knock at your door. You look through the peephole and see two children standing outside. They're pale, dressed strangely, their voices calm and polite. They ask, "Please let us in." And then you see it, their eyes completely black, no whites, no pupils, nothing but endless darkness. These are the black-eyed children, a legend that has haunted countless witnesses across the world. Some say they are spirits, others believe they are demons or even extraterrestrials. But one thing is always the same. They can't come inside unless you invite them in.
Please let us in.
The first widely reported sighting came from Brian Bethel, a journalist in Abilene, Texas in 1996. He had pulled into a parking lot one night to pay a bill when two boys approached the driver's side door. They couldn't have been older than 12. The boys asked him for a ride home, claiming they had forgotten their money to see a movie. At first, Brian considered it, but then a wave of dread washed over him. He described it as feeling physically sick. His body was telling him something wasn't right. He later wrote, "I felt like I was being hunted, as if I was some animal's prey." When Brian looked at the door lock and back at the boy, he froze. He was staring at a pair of coal-black eyes. Suddenly, the boy grew impatient. He banged on the window and hissed, "We can't come in unless you tell us it's okay. Let us in." Terrified, Brian sped away into the night. He never saw the boys again, but the story spread quickly, and with it, dozens of similar encounters. Stories of the black-eyed children have revealed a chilling pattern. They usually appear between the ages of 5 and 15. The clothing is odd, sometimes outdated, sometimes completely out of place, like sports logos from decades ago. They speak in a flat monotone voice, often repeating the same request again and again. Witnesses describe an overwhelming sense of dread, sometimes even nausea or paralysis. But the most disturbing detail, the children always insist, "We can't come in unless you let us." This mirrors an ancient vampire lore where a creature must be invited into your home before it can do any harm. And those who do let them in pay the price. This story comes from swamp_puppy. This was posted about 5 years ago on Reddit, titled Black-Eyed Kid. This is not my story, but a story from a friend's great-grandfather. I have gotten permission to tell the story on here. The story takes place during the late summer in the 1960s in, forgive me if I pronounce this wrong, Osceola, Iowa, which is a very small farming community. My friend's great-grandpa, Bob, owned a farm out there. He had acres of corn, wheat, potatoes, etc. But corn was his main crop, so he had a huge cornfield. It was around 2 a.m. and his grandfather couldn't sleep. So he went outside to get some fresh air. When outside, he noticed something that looked like a small child running around in the cornfield. So Bob ran back inside to get his double-barreled shotgun and woke up the farmhand for backup. They combed through the cornfield in an attempt to find whatever was running around out there. After a while, they still couldn't find anything. So Bob told the farmhand to go back inside the house while he stayed on the porch to watch his cornfield. Then he looks at the gravel road between his yard and the fence line that led to the cornfield, and standing on the road was a little girl around 6 years old or so, as she was wearing a white dress that made her look like she had just gotten out of church. Bob thought that his mind must have been playing tricks on him, so he tried to lay down on the couch to rest, but also still stay somewhat alert. However, not even a minute after he had laid down, he heard a knock on his screen door. He walked up to the door and slightly cracked the main door open. He sees the little girl and asked, "May I help you?" The little girl said, "Mister, I'm lost and I don't know where my parents are. Can I come in the house and use your telephone?" Bob felt uneasy and told the girl he could get her a glass of water and he can call her parents for her if she gave him the number. But he didn't feel comfortable letting her inside. He felt something off about the little girl. However, this little girl insisted on being the one to call and talk to them. And Bob said, "Young lady, it's 2 a.m. and I don't feel comfortable letting a stranger into the house, little girl or not." This little girl started to get agitated. She said, "I'm not leaving until you let me in and use your phone." Startled, Bob told the little girl he was going to call the police to come and pick her up so they can keep her safe and then find her parents. He closed the door to go call the police and he heard somebody punch the door like a grown man. He walked back and cracked the door open again, but when he looked, he realized that it was the little girl that punched the door. But when he looked at her this time, she didn't have any eyes. Instead, she had pitch black orbs instead of eyes, and said in a deep voice, "Let me in." So Bob grabbed his shotgun, pointed it at the little girl, and told her no to go away. After this, the little girl looks right into the barrel and then back up at Bob, smiled smugly at him, and giggled. This is when she ran back into the cornfield and disappeared. So what are they? Aliens, demons, spirits, or just the latest in a long line of urban legends? We may never know. What we do know is this: they appear on doorsteps, they knock on car windows, and they always ask for the same thing. Please let us in. The next time you hear a knock at your door late at night, will you answer it? Or will you turn off the lights and hope they move on to someone else?